everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where it is time for another seasonal event. Today, it is All Saints Wake 2024. Alright then, there is a lot going on. Let's get started. I guess first we can check the shops for the event. Though I don't think they're going to have too much yet. Yeah, magic prisms for pumpkins, which we have 20 of, and flying pumpkin furniture for housing. Not interested. We'll check again after we finish the event quests. Alright, pumpkin-headed apparition. Hello, what do you got for me this year? The pumpkin-headed apparition is on the lookout for an able adventurer. Heh, it's been more than a few moons since last we met, friend. As it so happens, I have a proposition suited to your talents. Are you prepared to throw caution to the wind and consort with Fiends most foul once again? I am. Of course you are. But before we get to the heart of the matter, let us reflect upon the history of All Saints Wake. On this night, two fell fiends emerged to cavort and careen, unconcerned with the judgments of those on high. For the halls of the saints' heavenly abode ring with merriment as the wine flows freely, and no one can be bothered to look down. Thus did God-fearing folk greet this particular sunset with trepidation, daring not to venture from their homes. No longer, nay, for adventurers came and drove out the void sent, restoring safety to the city streets, and marking the occasion as one of jubilation. That's all well and good, but what of the poor forsaken fiends? Are they, too, not deserving of revelry? My wish is to see All Saints Wake reborn as a celebration for all, be they ghost, ghoul, Gridanian, or otherwise. And how do I propose to accomplish this feat? Binding obligations, friend. I've convinced the more sinister sorts to enter into contracts which forbid them from preying on mortals. In exchange, they are permitted to partake in the festivities. But there's one troubled soul who still seems incapable of getting into the spirit of things. Perhaps you'd be willing to give them a helping hand. Nothing too devilishly difficult, I promise. Before you get started, you want to get a grasp of the particulars by speaking with Papa Gruff. He ought to be performing one of his shows by the entrance of the Great Lone Growery. Now go, I shall be watching your performance with great interest. Hehehe. Okay, curious about something. Checking. They added a feature in Dawntrail. Aha! I didn't have it enabled. Alright, that's better. Now we'll be able to see Satora a little more clearly. But yeah, they added a feature in Dawntrail and I forgot to enable it on this file, where you can hide other players when close to or interacting with quest NPCs. Just so you can, when there's a whole bunch of people surrounding a quest NPC, you're not going to be overwhelmed by them, by their presence. Yeah, see, just like that, look at that. I approach, and they vanish. Goodbye, humans. Although it pains me so, our humble performance must draw to a close. Let us then end things on a high note. Ladies and gentlemen, I bid you feast your eyes on the fantastic Philcox and his transformation magics. What was all that about? The clowning and whatnot with the right laugh, but the last bit was a bleeding rubbish. Come on, let's get out of here. Once more you fail to muster up even an ounce of magical prowess. I hadn't the crowd in the palm of my hand. We'd have been the toast of the town if not for your blunder. There you go again, shrieking the same old tune. I've had it up to my eyeball with this farce. Just because you know a few cheap tricks doesn't give you the right to treat me like that. I can't stand the sight of you, let alone the thought of taking to the stage with you again. Good riddance. Well, well, fate has conspired for us to cross paths once again. Out with it then. I know you're not here to swap pleasantries. Yeah, so I was told to help out a man named Philcox? Sorry, a man who was turning out to be Philcox. A man who was having trouble getting into the spirit of things. A foul fiend failing to get into the spirit of All Saints Wake. I'd wager you speak of Philcox, a fellow who stormed off in a huff. Like most of our ilk, Philcox and I have an insatiable appetite for ether. But unlike your garden variety Voidset, who hunt hapless mortals like beasts, We prefer to sate our hunger with their enthusiastic approval. I tell you, there's no ether as delectable as you'll find in food gifted in genuine appreciation. Which set me to thinking, perhaps preying on mortals was an old-fashioned and misguided approach. Thus did I commit to giving folks the sort of frights that dazzle and delight, winning hearts and minds, and in the process no small number of ether-laden delicacies. And what better occasion for such terrifying amusements as All Saints' Wake? The method is catching, too. Many Void Sent now seek ether in this manner. Philcox is one such reformed individual. When I first laid eyes upon him, I sensed promise, but get him in front of a crowd and you're lucky to get a smattering of half-hearted applause, let alone a few measly crumbs. You'd be better off hearing it from the Ahriman's mouth, though. He can't have gotten far. Alright, so Philcox is simply just struggling to actually delight anyone. Let's see, how can we help you, Philcox? What can we do for you? That sniveling whelp of an imp. Magic's this, magic's that. The sheer unbridled cheek of it. Ooh, yeah, he is practically frothing out of the mouth. So incensed is he by his treatment at the hands of Papa Gruff. We must soothe him! Alright then. Let us soothe him. Please, Philcox, calm down. We'll talk about this. Find some way to help you out. Apologies, I had taken leave of my senses. Your timely intervention is much appreciated. Wait, by the look of you, I'd say you're an adventurer. Let me guess, that pumpkin-headed lady sent you to check up on me, did she? Yeah, she did. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you my tale. Try as I might, I just can't get the hang of transformation magics, and without the means to delight the crowds, we're starved for appreciation. I'm an Ahriman, paralyzing prey with this big eye of mine? Not a problem. Turning them to stone with a petrifying glare? A trifling task. Hells, I can even smell despair and all manner of negative emotions in the people around me. Obviously, paralysis and petrification won't win over an audience, and my metaphorical nose for despair isn't gonna put ether on the table either. I ought to just tell that pumpkin-headed lady I'm not cut out for this business. If you're here at her behest, you'd better come too. Sounds like you might be focusing on the wrong things then. Sounds like you're not playing to your strengths. Though, I admit I am not quite immediately coming to mind what your strengths would be useful for. In the sense of, you're looking for ways to gain ether by making people appreciative and happy and delighted. Perhaps will require some out-of-the-box thinking. That about sums it up. I gave it my all and have naught to show for it. Which is to say, I've come to the conclusion that I will never be an entertainer. Heh, I gather you had a hand in Philcox's decision to lay bare his thoughts and feelings. Not that it did any good, I'm still stuck at square one, underappreciated and underfed. Heh, such a curious child. Are you truly so blind to your own potential? No doubt you have an inkling as to what I speak of. Pray share your wisdom with Philcox. Alright, what are your strengths? Petrifying, paralyzing, and you can sense negative emotions. Well, I would say that if someone is experiencing negative emotions, that could be someone who is in need of cheering up. Maybe not necessarily through entertainment, but perhaps you can smell dark emotions. Use your gift to help those in need, who need help. Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find a Void Sent who'd suggest that. I don't see how helping others helps me. But then again, I know little of mortal ways, so perhaps I should heed your advice. No, listen, Philcox. If you help people who are in need, who are having a bad time, they'll be appreciative. Do you see where that's going? Ah, wait, I see the logic in it now. What better way to make use of my talents and knock that pompous Papa Gruff right off his pedestal? No, I'm getting ahead of myself. I have no idea where to start. Heh, perhaps I can lend a hand with a little sleight of hand. Hold still. Okay, those clothes are officially extremely hot. I love it. Not only is that getup guaranteed to turn heads, each and every thread is imbued with a potent magic to aid in your newfound purpose. Oh, you know, I think I can feel it. Maybe this isn't going to be so tough after all. There you are. You know, I had thought to apologize for my harsh words earlier, since our act was my initiative and therefore our success, or lack thereof, was ultimately my responsibility, but I sense that you've been scheming. It pleases me to inform you, Papa Gruff, that I found a way to win over mortals on my own terms. I find that hard to believe, but since you seem so confident, why don't we have ourselves a contest? Whoever garners the most affection, and thereby the largest share of ether-rich and victuals, wins. And to the victor go the spoils of subservience. The loser will be bound to obey their every whim. How does that sound? You're on. I hope you're ready to bow and scrape. This might be a little much, but... That mortal epithet about one's bark being worse than one's bite comes to mind. Prepare yourself, Philcox. I know I've got this marvelous magic outfit, but I'm still not entirely convinced I have what it takes to beat Papa Gruff on my own. Come with me, just until I get the hang of things. That's all I ask. Sounds good. I can help out for a little bit. Very well, I shall leave Philcox in your capable hands. So you're just not going to put an end to the weird-ass wager they're making. You know what? If they're into it, you know, good for them. I'm not going to judge anyone they're kings. I'm just like, maybe this is a little much. A little much. Especially considering you're getting me involved. I trust you'll do everything in your power to assist Philcox in his endeavors. I will. After a nudge in the right direction, Philcox is ready to embark on his mission. We are getting his outfit for this quest too. Hell yeah. I believe it was actually mentioned in the blog post, the developer blog post for this event, that this outfit was in part created to help people in their cosplays of the Primals, which is Square Enix's internal band. How about we try and find a troubled soul in need of aid? But let's get out of here first. Alright, let's go help somebody in need. Alright, Philcox, what can you sense with your special powers? Right, the time to look for folk harboring negative feelings. Give me a moment. I don't know if it has anything to do with that pumpkin-headed lady's enchantment, but my powers feel more potent than ever. I've already found someone, and whoever they are, they're awful flustered. They're to the northeast, I think, though I'm not sure where exactly. The roads here can be confusing. Truth be told, this is my first time in the city. I've got a decent sense of direction, but I've yet to grasp the lie of the land. Could I trouble you to lead the way? Yeah, I can lead you around. Our flustered target is northeast of here. I'll be right behind you. Alright, we've got Philcox following us, and as usual, for every seasonal event, they're going to teach us how this works, just in case somebody has not learned yet. Because that feature's not part of the main story till Endwalker. Alright, there is one optional conversation, and it's directly on our way, but first... Say, did I tell you that Philcox is just an alias? The pumpkin-headed lady suggested I use it to better engage with you mortals. My real name is actually... what does it matter? It's not like we'll see each other again when this is over and done with. Rude, I wanted to hear it. It's fine, if you want to go by Philcox, I'm not going to stop you. But like, damn, I thought we were going to be friends after this. After all, I'm helping you. Ah, such glee. They mention a clown. I'd wager they've just had the privilege of seeing one of Papa Gruff's performances. Turning a pumpkin into a little pup? Whatever will they do next? Listen, I'll be the first to admit that he's an expert illusionist, and you've only got to look at folks like these ladies and see that he knows how to work a crowd. But I won't be upstage. I'll prove that there's more than one way to win over an audience, by following your timely advice, that is. Given the delight written on their faces, our opponent must have earned himself some sustenance. Which means we've no time to lose. Onwards. Alright. Also, I'm curious, does it change? No. Okay, it does not change in the bubble. Alright, our distressed individual is just up ahead. Hello there, flustered fellow. I have a kitty yelling at me. Alright, give me just a moment. I love living with cats. He wanted me to open the door to let him out, and then when I opened the door, he stared at me like, what are you doing? Ah, cats. Oh gods, where's she gotten to? Ah, this must be the fellow my senses were leading me to. Shall we find out what ails him? Indeed. You there, what's gotten you so worked up? Oh, forgive me, there was this poor little girl who'd been separated from her mother. I was helping her to look, but she suddenly disappeared. I can't simply abandon her, but then again I have an urgent personal matter to attend to and... oh, I just don't know what to do. In that case, why don't I and my associate look for the girl? Then you can see to your affairs without worry. Thank you, thank you. She's a young lass dressed in blue. I hope you're able to find her forthwith. Alright, you get to whatever you need to attend to. He was certainly appreciative, but yet here I am, empty-handed. Forget the food, we have a lost child to find. You know, I'm a little surprised, I guess not entirely surprised, but more like saddened by the fact that you don't seem to be able to gain Aether just from their appreciation alone. Does it really have to be from the food itself? I'm detecting a despairing presence to the east of here. Odds are it's the girl, which means I have need of your navigational news once again. After you. Is it pronounced news or nose? Navigational nose would actually make a bit of sense, but also, given that I am a Makote, that almost feels offensive, but that's clearly not the spelling they're using, so shrug. I should have known you'd turn up sooner or later. Yeah, I am here to help her out. I thought this would be a fine opportunity to accrue some appreciation, but this poor girl is beside herself. She keeps calling out for her mama. Might I enlist your help? This must be the lost lass we've been looking for. If we want to earn her thanks, we'll need to reunite with her with her mother, wouldn't you say? Indeed. Which means we now have a lady to locate. Any suggestions? Well... why don't you try coming up with an idea yourself? I'm here to support you, not to do it for you. But yeah, try coming up with an idea for yourself. See if you can figure it out. I know I can't keep relying on you, but just thinking about having to think for myself is making me anxious. Ah, that's it! Anxiety! That's how one would feel having misplaced their offspring, right? Ah yes, misplaced. Simply set them down somewhere and forget where you put them. That's the emotion I need to find. Found her. I don't know which is a bigger boon, having you by my side or this fancy finery. I think I've learned my way around the city more or less. I'll handle this next part on my own. Wait here, I'll be back with the girl's mother in no time. Twelve be praised, you're safe! You have my eternal gratitude. Thanks for finding Mama, mister. Do you believe me now, Papa Gruff? Sweet, sweet appreciation, and all courtesy of my special talent. I can't help but notice they didn't offer you anything edible by way of thanks. For my part, I've already been rewarded with a tasty morsel. That said, the gift of food is far from guaranteed. Indeed, perseverance is key, which is why I find myself performing show after show. I suggest you approach this contest with the same tenacity, Phil Cox. I'm afraid he's right. Constant effort is key. Luckily, I sense another troubled soul while I was tracking down the girl's mother. I'd better see what I can do to help. You know, I think I'm ready to go it alone now. Why don't you let our pumpkin-headed benefactor know? I'll come and find you when I'm done. Alright, best of luck. Well, I'm afraid my next performance calls. Until we meet again, adventure. Y'all seem extremely underappreciated for the work you do. Especially given that, like, you are trying to earn, like, food to keep yourselves alive and sustained. I will say very, very little about Dawntrail to not spoil it, but I think it is very funny that this... Cats! Jesus! One of our cats knows how to open doors, and he is very desperately trying to get back in. After just a few minutes ago, he wanted me to let him out. Oh my goodness, kitty! I don't know if you could actually hear that, but the doorknob just slammed because he was jumping on it to try and open the door. Normally he can do it. It usually takes like 2 or 3 tries, but he's... Oh, he got in. Hi. Okay, sure. We have a cat in here now. God, I love living with cats. It's very interesting. Anyways, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by a very adorable kitty, it's very interesting that they wrote this seasonal event like this after Dawntrail's release. I'll say there's some extremely deliberately similar themes happening here to what happens in Dawntrail, and I really like it. Alright, hello there, pumpkin-headed apparition. Heh, the adventure returns, and at the precise moment I predicted. I do hope keeping Philcock's company wasn't too taxing. What of our fiend and his endeavors? You have my thanks, truly. Speak of the devils, here they come. Dear, oh dear, that turned out to be a damn sight harder than I'd anticipated, and all I had to show for my travails was a single cookie. To think the first gift I'd received would prove to be the last. Curses, I didn't receive so much as a crumb. I suppose this means you win. Very well, I am yours to command, Papa Gruff. Heh, you admit defeat far too readily, Philcox. Cat update, just because you know what? He's made himself part of this, so I'm giving you a cat update. He has burrowed himself under my blankets on my bed. He is extremely adorable. Hooray, we found you! I wanted to thank you properly for helping me and Mama. I brought you a pumpkin cookie. Simply scrumptious! I'm glad you like it. Farewell. That makes it 1 apiece. A draw, then. Still, Philcox, while you had some assistance along the way, you've nevertheless done yourself proud. To think I'd live to see the day Papa Gruff sings my praises. Awfully kind of you to finally admit that I might have worth. Is that all you desire? My begrudging acceptance? Have you forgotten your reasons for joining in the festivities in the first place? Of course I haven't. The good people of Gridania are still in need of my help. And where there are common folk in need, there are cookies to be freed, and given to me. Adventure, I'd better get going. But before I do, let me say this. I might have found a way to make the most of my talents, but I wouldn't have been able to do so without you and the pumpkin-headed lady. I'm sure we'll run into each other again one of these days. Till then. The promise I sensed in Philcox when he and I first met was an illusory after all. I should take my leave too. It would be remiss of me to allow him to garner all the glory, to say nothing of the cookies. I'd say those two fiends ended up having themselves a frightfully fun-filled All Saints' Wake, wouldn't you agree? And for your part in this, a fitting reward. I present to you a set of finery as worn by Gridania's most emotionally perceptive Ahriman. Perhaps you wonder if your outfit is endowed with the same enchantment. You needn't worry, there never was an enchantment. You lied! That little charade was my way of giving Philcox the confidence he so sorely lacked. Although I dare say such a measure was unnecessary given he had you to cheer him on. Before I forget, you are hereby cordially invited to my humble abode for a get-together of sorts. Do drop by, I assure you it will be frightfully entertaining. Anyway, your help is much appreciated. At this rate, my vision of an All Saints' Wake for mortals and voids and alike might not be such a distant prospect. Though I do hope that these shenanigans have indulged your enthusiasm for this most occult of occasions. Alright then. We got ourselves some new glamour gear, and it goes in the armoire. Thank you. Good, good, good. We now have access to Sneaky Hollow. Speak with the unusual usher at Miketo's amphitheater to be escorted to the costume party. Oh, we are absolutely checking that out. Very fun. I will say, I wish that the seasonal events in general were a bit more involved. Just because these are definitely very, very basic. It's not that that's bad or anything, it's just... it's very basic. Now I say that, but on the other hand, they probably do not have the budget or resources to make these more involved than they are. Also, hello, we have Serendipity and Redolent Rose from Ul'dah here. Weaver's Guildmaster, Goldsmith's Guildmaster. And then over here, I believe we have... yeah, Rhea Osena is going to be harassing someone. Extremely rude. Leave them alone. Anyways, yeah, I wish they would be a bit more involved, but like, they probably do not have the resources for it. Just because, one, from my understanding, Square Enix is in a bad shape right now. With Final Fantasy XIV being like the only game bringing them income, like a reasonable amount of income. So their budget is very strained. And on top of that, this is an MMO. This already has a ton of content that they're putting in regularly. So it's probably not exactly reasonable for them to get a little bit more involved on the seasonal events. Especially when there are much higher priority things that they should probably hopefully be putting extra resources to. Alright. Let's head on into Sneaky Hollow, which is here every year, I believe. And it's basically just, you know, your standard glam area. You can put on glams, do some G poses, some nice Halloween themed G poses, and have a good time. Right, because we have only made so much progress in the main story, we only have one imp who's willing to transform us. If you're caught up, there's 3. Up to something, me? Never, I am but a fun-loving imp here to help my fellow revelers enjoy the wake. And I can fashion you a very convincing guise for the masquerade, ehehe. All I need is your memory of someone who made a strong impression, someone unforgettable, someone powerful. Yes, that's it. Ooh, we've got a lot of options. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. A Huron man who began life anew in a realm reborn. That will do nicely. Don't worry, this won't hurt much at all. Just close your eyes. Alright, first up is... the default character from A Realm Reborn. I do want to mention just a technical thing real quick. I have been having issues recently with frame drops, and it started with turn 12 of Binding Coils, and it's been occasional ever since. I have been trying to diagnose what exactly it is. We dropped another half second somewhere in this, and it makes me really frustrated. I hope it's not too noticeable. But I think I finally have an idea of what exactly is causing it. I'm gonna keep trying to fix that. And hopefully I will have some success in actually fixing it. We'll see. I hope. God, I hope. Alright, eager Lalafellan woman who is a coin keeper of a, quote, secret, unquote, organization. Who could this possibly be? Hi, Tataru. Alright, next up we have a Ahriman man who is known as Eorze's most fearsome ghost. Oh no! Alright, who could this be? Hello, Godbert. Oh, he's wearing clothes, damn it. I mean, what? Next up we have a loyal Mikote woman who assists a gentleman inspector. And of course that's gonna be Nashu Makaraka. Next up, working our way up, a Huron gentleman with an irrepressibly inquisitive nature. We've got Hilda. Oh, God, of course his clothes are torn up. He's not allowed to have perfectly intact clothing. A stunning Mikote woman famed as a peerless songstress. She was also a terrorist once upon a time. I watched all the cutscenes from 1.0 recently. Very fun, learned a lot. I used to think that Flamine was a terrorist because she was trying to overthrow the Syndicate in Ul'dah. No, she was a terrorist because her boyfriend was part of the Syndicate in Ul'dah, specifically one of the Monitorists. And they wanted to go to war against Garlemald, specifically for the Prophet. Flamine, I am horribly disappointed in you. A formidable Rugadin man, recognized for his tactical brilliance. I actually don't know this one off the top of my... Ritatine. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, Ritatine makes sense. Next up, a compassionate Huron woman who leads a, quote, secret organization. We've got, of course, Minfilia. Next on the list... we have a Rugadin man who escaped the Empire with his diminutive brother in tools. Ah, yes, this is going to be... Biggs! Hello, Biggs! There really is a good selection of people you can disguise yourselves as. A talented Lalafellan technician with a soft spot for a certain coin keeper. Oh yes, I don't know how much that's... No, it came up in the main story. It definitely came up. Wedge has a crush on Tataru. Next up, we have an eccentric Mikote man, crimson of both hair and eye. Oh, yes! We have my favorite Graha Tia. Hello there, boy. I love him. Alright, next we have a Ryan ambitious Garlean man who hates to be outdone. Oh, I love every time I run Praetorium because I always get to be reminded of what a fucking loser Nero is. There's a joke among me and my friends that if Sid were to transition and be transgender, Nero would transition just to prove he could be trans better than Sid. Oh, Nero, you fucking loser. I love you. A courageous and clever Garlean man admired by many. Hello, Sid Garland. Okay, almost to the end. A charming and compassionate Lalafellan lady of noble birth. Ah, that's going to be Nanamo, I believe. Yes. Hello, Nanamo Namo? We've got a rugged Huron man, unmatched in loyalty and valor. That's going to be, of course, Ralban. Okay, next up, a stalwart Rugadin woman of unshakable conviction. We've got Merlvib. And you can almost definitely guess who the last one is. A Pajali woman as gentle as yet indomitable as nature itself. Connie Senna. Unfortunately, that is all I have access to right now. There's a lot more options. Surprisingly, they haven't added Dawn Trail options yet. I suspect it's because Dawn Trail's still fairly new and they don't want to accidentally spoil people. Like you can't pick a character to disguise yourself as unless you've gotten far enough in the main story or side content. But since other people can see who you're disguised as, Dawn Trail's new enough that I think they're just a little bit worried about just you disguising yourself as characters and then accidentally spoiling characters for other people, and it's what they want to avoid doing. Though it's just characters, I don't think it's that big a deal, but that's the only explanation I can think of for why they haven't yet added Dawn Trail characters. Anyways, we've checked out the mansion before. I think we are good to depart. And that is going to be about it for All Saints Wake 2024. Fun little story. I like it. I like that we trade. I like that we trained a new friend to be effectively an adventurer almost, running around and helping out people with their problems. Best of luck to you, Phil Cox. And next time on Final Fantasy XIV, I believe, I hope I will have fixed the frickin'. I hope I will soon be fixing the frame drop issues. I am so sorry about that if it's noticeable or in any way aggravating. But this coming week, we are going to be working on more main story. Specifically, we are going to be helping with the whole, Ishgard crisis that's currently happening. Ishgard needs our help. I'll see everyone next time for that.